Hey dudes and dudettes, it's Barry. I'm going to be going over Simulation Craft in this video that I'm making for you guys right before raid time. I've been getting a lot of questions from guildies and things of that nature, other people, and so I just want to address what I've learned playing with Simulation Craft. There's other stuff that I'll go over maybe in another video, but not right now. I'm just kind of covering the basics of what like a normal raider should be able to do. That way they can optimize their character with the best gear, and I get questions over this stuff all the time, and so I figured I'd just make a video, and even if I don't cover something, you guys are more than welcome to ask me. I'll try and answer it the best I can. In this video, we'll be going over changing the basics, so things like your race, talents, artifacts, changing your gear, so whether they just be changing my boots out, what boots are better, relics. I know that's a question a lot of people have, obviously, because you can't just swap relics in and out. And then making comparisons using multiple profiles. So instead of saying, you know, I'm going to switch out this trinket, what do? I'm going to, you know, take my profile and then sim that and get a number. And then I'm going to swap my trinket and then sim it again and then get a number. You don't have to do it that way. It takes a little bit more time, and there's quicker ways to do it, especially when you start wondering, like, you know, this trinket versus if I have, you know, like 6 or 7 trinkets. It starts to get really time consuming then, and there's quicker ways to do it. So I'm gonna get into Simulation Craft here. Apologies if the video production is, you know, whatever. I'm not here to make a sweet video. I'm just here to answer some questions and share some knowledge that I've learned. So with Simulation Craft, I use the Simulation Craft add-on in game, and I recommend you guys too. I know some of you were telling me you're using the import from Armory, which is totally fine. The add-on is just better, and because you have to wait for the Armory to update. With the add-on, I just type /simc here. And it pulls up everything. It gives me a string that I'm currently, you know, all the gear I'm currently wearing, my artifact, all my traits and relics, excuse me, my spec, talents, professions, race, all that good stuff. Okay. So that's why I recommend using this. You know, if you logged out in PvP gear last night because we were doing rated battlegrounds, and then you log in, that's just what the Armory has on you. And you go to do it right now, you know, you're gonna have to wait, log out, wait for the Armory to update, stuff like that. Well, you don't need to. So I recommend using the add-on. It's a lot easier. It spits out this nice, clean profile for you to use, and it's really great. I recommend it. So we're gonna go over right now how to change kind of a lot of this top portion. Some of it I'm not gonna simulate. Because it'll take a little bit more time. I'm just going to show you how to do it, and then you'll understand. So I'm going to go over actually using multiple profiles right now. That way I can't, when I do sim things, I can kind of show you how they work. So multiple profiles, you know, this is what I have in my gear right now. And if I wanted to change my trinket, okay, I just wanted to draw a comparison there. I say, okay, with this, I'll use Convergence of Fates. What happens if I switch this to this Memento of Angerboda that I have? Okay, what you'll do is you'll go to Wowhead, and I'll do this in a second. I'm just going to teach you how to type the string right here. So you have this profile, and you'll type copy equals quotation marks, and then whatever you want to call it. So for my regular gear, you know, this is my name, so that's what it pulls. You know, I'm going to say this is my current gear. And so this is the current setup that I have right with the Convergence of Fates. Now I'll type /copy, and I'm going to call this one Memento instead of COF. Type that. And then what I'll do is, what that means is it's going to copy the profile and name it something different, okay? That's what that first line means. Now, because that is in my trinket 2 slot, I'm going to type trinket 2 equals comma ID equals just this same thing right here. That's what I just typed, okay? And then you'll get the ID from Wowhead, and I'll go over that in a minute as well. And you'll type the ID in here, and if it has a bonus ID, you do comma, bonus, underscore ID equals, and then type the bonus ID. And then you would just hit simulate, and what it'll do is it'll give you a picture like this. You know, and it'll show you, okay, with current gear, that's what it DPS, and if you switch it, that's what it's going to do. And that's that. So now I'm going to erase this. Now that you know how to make multiple profiles, that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this video when making, showing you different gear sets, different artifact relics, and talents, all that good stuff. Let's see, let me get my stuff back here. Apologize for the delay. Okay, so first one, I'm going to show you guys talents and artifacts. For Shaman, this was a huge thing for me because when, you know, there's a discussion in the Discord, hey, when you finally get your 4th golden trait, you know, are you supposed to change talents? So this is huge for me. Talents is easy. You'll see it says 1133111. So if I go in game and open my talents up, that's exactly how it is. It goes from 15 to 100, and this is 1, this column's 2, this column's 3. So you'll see it says 1133111. 1133111. So if you want to sim yourself, you know, what happens if I take Mark for Death instead of Venom Rush? Okay, you do like I said, where I'm just going to type this and keep it there, where you'll say copy equals quotations marked for death, quotations, and then I'll say talents equal 1133112, 1133112, and then I would hit simulate, and it'll spit it out. Okay, talents is really easy. Important note to take that I should have mentioned too is you need to make sure you're typing it specifically. You know, if you don't, you're going to get an error, and I'll show you the error right now. If I just type talent instead of talents like it has, you know, it'll give me this error, and it says unknown option talent with value this. Okay, when you're getting errors, it's okay. Make sure to pay attention what this says right here, and it'll tell you what to change. So if I go back to my tab, you know, I say, oh, I forgot the S, and then I can hit simulate, and see it'll start simulating, and it won't give me the error. Okay, so did talents, artifacts. I would recommend using Wowhead for this. Wowhead is awesome, and then it gives you it gives you the string that you can just paste into Simulation Craft. And so I'll go to tools here, artifact, rogue, assassination, and I'm just gonna load my character because it's easier than filling it all in. You can fill it in if you want to. Why can't I find it? Thunderhorn. I'll load it here. And it'll bring up my relics, and it's super important. That's the reason why I load too. You do want these relics in here because they give you extra traits. If you don't put these relics in here, it's not going to pull your extra traits that you're getting from the relic. Okay. So you'll see if I click link, it has a Simulation Craft one here, and I can just use that. So what I'm going to go over now is saying, okay, this is the talent or the amount of traits that I have right now. What is my DPS going to look like once I get Sinister Circulation? So I'm going to fill this in, fill that one in, Sinister Circulation. Okay, and I'm going to get a link, and I'm going to click link. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy, I'm going to go back to Simulation Craft. Okay, so I'm going to use this. Obviously I have, this is what my current gear, and I'm going to go copy, and I'm going to call this one Sinister. I'm going to just type SS, Sinister Circulation. And I'm going to go artifact equals, I'm going to paste that number I got from Wowhead. simulate. This is going to take a second. I'll just let it load. And I'll mention, if you don't need to be in game, I'm going to leave my game up because I'm going to be, explaining different things with the talent setup. But if you don't need the game up, you can close WoW. For me, it makes Simulation Craft run a lot better, and it'll sim way faster. Basically, what Simulation Craft is doing right now is it's going to sim this, just my current gear setup, and give me DPS, and then it's going to sim basically everything else, but if I had those artifacts. So it's doing two simulations right now at one time, and so you can walk away from your computer and it'll do both instead of having to sit here, wait for the first one to finish, and then do the other one. Another thing I'll go over is to make sure that you have your settings the way you want them. I just use Patchwork for right now. It's easier. You can change it, but I wouldn't recommend it for just trying to simulate, your single target damage. And you want to go into scaling, and you want scaling enabled, and then you want to do toggle all character stats. And what that'll do is scale your stats. So it's important to have that because stats have diminishing returns on them. So obviously the more crit you get, the less crit value you're getting from one crit. So as you get more and more mastery, that's what rogues want, assassination rogues anyway. As I get more and more mastery, one mastery is going to give me, we'll just throw out a number. At 0 mastery, 1 mastery is going to give me 1%. But once I have 1,000 mastery, 1 mastery might only give me 0.1%. Something like that. Those numbers aren't legit. I'm just throwing them out there to give you a reference that's why you want scaling enabled, because as you get more gear, as your stats get higher, you're getting less of a percentage value with one rating. So we'll check on Simulation Craft. Still not done. That's what it's doing right now, is it's scaling all my stats. You can probably skip ahead at this point if you want to in the video, and I'll show the results, but I'm just going to sit here and wait. Okay, so you see, this is my current gear with my current everything that I'm wearing right now. Well, this is when I had Venom Rush and Furnace of Fate, and that was my DPS sim. And then so it's saying once I get Sinister Circulation, this is going to be my DPS right here. It's real simple. This is what creating that multiple profiles, this is what that copy SS and artifact does. Is instead of just having the instead of just having this right here, which is what you normally see from here down, and getting this number right here, it'll spit it out up top in a nice little graph. And this bracket area is the lower half is, you know, lower, upper, and then the mean. The mean is what it'll spit out as just the average of what you'll be hitting. And that's simulating traits. So we'll go into gear and relics. So you'll look at in my rogue, and I only have 2-piece right now. And I was curious yesterday as to what happens if I got 4-piece. Now for me, I know that the chest is more valuable than my cloak, just because of how much stats are allocated to chests and cloaks. And I have good stats in some of the other slots, and I already have these two. Obviously I'm not going to change the shoulders, so I knew I wanted to get the helm and the cloak for right now, so that's what I'm going to be using. And I was interested in looking at, well, if it's 860 versus 875 item level. I'm just going to go with 875 because I've already done the sim, and I know that either way, 860 or 875 for me personally is a huge gain, but I'm going to use 875, which is normal night hold. So I'm going to use Wowhead again. Wowhead's great for simulation craft, and I'm going to go and find the item. So it's Doomblade, and I'm going to use the cowl first, which is the headpiece. Now, it's super important that when you're pulling gear and you are getting the strings that you need, that you choose the correct item level, even for legendaries, because right now, Wowhead, I'll just pull up the mantle. What is it? Mantle and the Master Assassin. Just pull the mantle and show you that even on legendaries, you'll see right now that says 910 item level. Okay, you need to make sure that you choose the correct item level. You can go to 940. Now it's 940, and it'll change. Okay, go back to Doomblade. Okay, so I said I'm going to use 875, so it's 875 right now. But if I wanted to look at the LFR version, I'd go right here at 860, and it would change it to 860, which is the Raid Finder version. But I'm going to use 875. Now, what you need to look at is what's in your address bar. Okay, you'll find the item ID, which is the Doomblade cowl, and the bonus ID, which correlates to the item level. Okay, so you need to look at both of these. I'm gonna go back to simulation craft. I'm gonna do copy, and I'm gonna say 4-piece because that's what I'm gonna look at. Okay, now I'm gonna replace my helmet, which is head. ID equals, I'm going to pull the ID here. So that's the item ID, item equals. Copy that. Now, comma, bonus underscore ID equals, helps if I spell it right. Bonus. I'm going to pull the bonus ID right here. Bonus ID, there you go. So that's replacing my headpiece. Now I said, obviously for 4-piece, I needed to replace both my helm, and I said I was going to replace my cloak. So I'm going to pull the cloak as well. It's already on 875. I'm going to pull the ID here. And cloak is actually called back on Simulation Craft. Bonus ID is 3514. Okay, so now I've replaced my head and my back, and I can sim. I'm gonna let this run again. Okay, so now you'll see that with my current gear, you know, it's the same thing, 609, 385, and if I got 4-piece with those replacements that I mentioned, you know, the normal night hold, back, and headpiece, that would be my DPS right there. Something I forgot to mention that I'll go back and say that when I put this back piece in, you know, this is just the back piece straight up. I didn't have, that's not saying if it had an enchant. Now, if you wanted to find, okay, I want that back piece, but obviously I'm going to put an enchant on it because my current cloak has an enchant on it. And you'll see right here, enchant ID 5435. Okay, and that's, you'll put that ID there. If you look at my cloak, that's 200 agility. So I know I'm going to put 200 agility on this cloak as well. So I'm just going to copy this enchant ID right here. And you're going to put that in between the ID and the bonus ID. And you can do this for anything. Okay, I'm going to put that right here. I'll put a comma in between. So it'll say back, you have the ID, you have the enchant, and then the bonus ID. So think about it. This is you'll have the item, its enchant, and then the bonus ID, which is its item level. Now, if you want to, if you know, for some reason, I'm just going to use this out there. If I wanted to use intellect, I could find it on Wowhead. I'm going to say cloak binding of intellect. Okay, so go to binding of intellect. Now, you don't use the item ID here. This item ID is for the scroll. Okay, what you want is the actual buff that it gives. So I'm gonna click here, and then you'll go binding of intellect. And you'll find right here, here's the effect, and so it'd be 5436 for intellect. Okay. So if I go back into Simulation Craft, and I'd put a 5436 if I wanted intellect. Now, you know how to change gear. You know, I briefly went over enchants. Gems is the same way. You'll put gem after the bonus ID, obviously, and that is the item. And so if I wanted to, you know, if my back piece got a gem, you know, then I'd type copy and then gem ID, etc. But I'm not going to change that. Okay, so now we'll go over relics, which is a huge deal. I know a lot of you are like, well, is this relic an upgrade for me? And honestly, you know, you can't just swap your relics in and out because it destroys it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull a random relic for me. I'm going to night hold and say, okay, what if I got a heroic version of the Lion's Head lapel grasp? You know, just looking at it for me, I can tell you it's 35 item levels, it's 10 weapon item levels. It's probably going to be an upgrade, but I'm going to show you how to see how much of an upgrade, and you can use this for any relic. So I'm going to go back to Wowhead. I'm going to find the item. Lion's Head lapel clasp. And I want the heroic version, so I'm going to go 895. Now, in Simulation Craft and Wowhead's wording with relics are different. What I'm going to tell you is important to look at is to go in and find out what slot the iron is, because that's what I'm looking at is iron relics. Okay, the iron relic is in, this is slot 1, this is slot 2, and this is slot 3. So the iron relic is in slot 2. Go to Simulation Craft, you're going to look at your main hand, okay, and it'll say relic ID. Everything on the first part of the slash is slot 1. So for me, that's going to be the shadow relic. And the second slot, that's what I'm going to be looking at. That's the iron relic, and that's in the second, in between the slash marks. Okay, the same thing for gem ID. Now, you'll look, and the relic ID is actually the bonus ID on Wowhead, and the way you can see that is it has these colons, and IDs will never have that. So I'm going to go back to Wowhead, and I'm going to find the bonus ID here, okay? And I'm going to put that back to Simulation Craft in the second slot right here. See, this is slot 1, this is slot 2, and this is slot 3. So I'm going to put this right here. Now the gem ID is the actual item ID. I go back to Wowhead, I'm going to pull the item ID here. And you're going to put this on gem ID. Right here. That's all you have to do. Okay, if you wanted to simulate it that way. Now, I'm going to show you with the profile. Okay, this is what I have on. Again, we're going to go and change this to current gear. Copy. It's line head lapel clasp. Now, to make it easier, I'm going to copy the main hand. Okay, and I'm going to put it right underneath. And like I showed you on the bonus ID, oops, it's the bonus right here. Put it in the second slot, because that's the iron relic for me. It's in the second slot. I'm going to find the item ID. Second slot here. I'm going to let that run. you'll see current gear, and then if I replace my iron relic with the relic that I showed you. Okay, so about a 5k DPS difference. That's about all I'm going to go over for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up in game. I'm usually on. You can always hit me up on Discord as well. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to go over. Just make sure you're using the correct syntax. You know, at first, you know, instead of don't put helm, make sure you put head. Don't put cloak. Make sure you put back. If you're using two words like main hand, make sure you're using an underscore instead of a space. If you wanted to know what you were, you know, instead of blood elf, I wanted to know night elf. I put night underscore elf. And yeah, just make sure you're using the correct syntax. Make sure you're copying and pasting in the right places. One other thing I'll go over real quick is if you know, if I wanted to say, okay, well, what if I had a different relic, a different iron relic? So you just make sure you have a gap in between here. So I have a line, and I'd say copy. You call it different relic. So make sure you hit the syntax. So I'll put equals, and then you know, again, you copy main hand. Here, and you go find the bonus ID, put it here, find the item ID for the relic, put it here, and then you'd run, and then instead of giving you 2, it'll spit out 3. So just make sure you have a gap, and then make sure you name it whatever so that you know which one is which when it comes back over here. That's gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys have fun, and I guess we're gonna go raid now. Talk to you later.